Tuesday today, what a surprise. But here I am, nonetheless, ready to help you understand what's going on in a piece of music. What is it gonna be? Well, let me tell you. It's gonna be chemtrails. 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 Let me just get it up on the side of the screen. How can I do that? There we go. There it is. There it is. You still can't see it, but now you should be able to. Should be able to very soon. There we go. It's open. Hooray. The joy of... Let's just see. Oh, come on now. What's going on? There we go. Sects. Ha 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 ha. I think I can probably actually go lower generally, can't I? We don't need to see which ones I like here or how many plays they've got. So maybe I'll just sit in the middle. I don't know, it looks sort of awful, but it's better to be able to read the title, right? Alright, let's go with that. So I'm going to move my water so it's not quite so near the microphones, and then we're going to have a little listen. Let's see how it's going. I've been listening to Elliott Smith this morning, but now Detritus Andronicus. Maybe a little loud. Let's just go down. But already you can hear we've got distorted bass, some quite clear, crisp drums, and some guitars. And we're in what's that? A. Lovely. Let's just check I'm in tune. Okay, I'm quite flat. More or less. Okay, let's have a listen. Okay, fun set of things. This bass riff is really the main driving thing here. Really catchy. Something like that. That's my ad-libbed, only once heard. I have heard this before, but I haven't specifically taken note of what the bass is doing. But we're going between three interesting chords there. A major, ba-dum-ba, but we've got that flash with the bass, ba-dum-ba, going to the minor third, that one. So we get those two at the same time. But because it's just part of a moving line, it doesn't really feel like a clash. Then we go to an F sharp minor chord. So that's it's almost like a 5 to 6. Sorry, not 5 to 6, but 1 to 6 in A major. So that is kind of what it feels like. But because we had that C before, and we had a G there, it doesn't quite feel like we're occupying the same space. It feels like the A was in more of a bluesy kind of area, and we wouldn't expect to go to the minor 6 in a blues, really. That is what happens there. That's all fine, but then we do go to a C after that. So, a really edgy kind of chord sequence. Yeah, if we think of that as 1 to 6 to flat 3, oh my goodness. So there's a big change between the F minor, F sharp minor, and the C there. It's a tritone change again. So yeah, really sounding very fun. And the bass is, I think, doubled down an octave. Or maybe it's the other way around, maybe it's doubled up an octave with a guitar. Okay. And that F sharp is actually, it is a major chord. So that makes it sound much further away than the minor chord. Do do do. With that note there, going to there. Yeah, real big change between those. And the major chords often have this real grounding effect to them. So when we hear a new major chord in a new area, it's like, whoa, is this where we are now? Whereas minor chords, if we were just the same kind of thing, they feel very like an outsider. They feel, at least for me, this is not grounded in science, I would say. So if we suddenly move between minor chords that are unrelated, it feels like we're going different places, but it feels like we're getting further and further away from where we are actually home, where we are comfortable. It's hard to pick out even one of these which feels like the final one. That's an interesting quirk of those, at least from my perspective. Great, well, let's carry on. We actually got an extra guitar riff in there, didn't we? Okay, so yeah, that guitar riff is actually pretty simple. And it didn't really change over the other chords. So what is it? It's the major third of this A chord. Go to 5, 6, or C sharp, E, F sharp, and then we get C sharp to C, just a little bit of a bluesy play around there. But nothing much crazy. Not quite as interesting as the bass riff underneath. So got some vocal harmonies, which is nice. And they're mainly keeping to the chords there. So it's like, and then, yeah. So mainly keeping to the chords or very close intervals like a tone. Yeah. And then we've also got a melody. So that other melody, it's doing the simplified version of what the guitar was doing. It's just going between that C and that C sharp. So going, are we major or are we minor? It doesn't really feel like that's what's going on. It feels like the major one is dominant and the other note is like a passing note away, just for a little bit of a Also, we've got some really wet sounds. That was a nice bit of rhythm there. Lost a bit of respect. Before that, we've got lots of things on the beat. And really, I guess that Andronicus, it feeds into that rhythm. It's just like taking that Dronicus and then adding another bit on the end. Da 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 da. So yeah, pretty well written there, I would say. We haven't talked much about the drums, but they have got a semiquaver hi-hat thing going on. 16th notes constantly going. So it's really pumping, really going. Haven't noticed anything other particular with that, but let's keep going. Wow. So this is an interesting, it's the same chords still, but the ensemble has really changed. We haven't got nearly as much of the bass. we've got things jumping in and out of the texture. Let's have another listen and try and pick up on all those. So we've got another riff, which now sounds like on a very sort of countrified low guitar. Something like that, and then something like that. So we've got that. We've got harmonies on Lust, a Bit of Respect, and we've got then a ow, ow. No, one more try. Ow! Coming in as well, and the which is in fifths harmonies, I think. Fourths. But then they go down to not fourths. So they go from a C sharp and an F sharp to a C and an E. Again, going with the chords. But those chord changes are really, really far-flung, really strange chord changes. So it feels like it's even though they're very close intervals, it feels like they're going to a different space. You know, the bass is still playing that riff. It's just not. It's either not doubled with the guitar, or it's just not played through the distortion. Let's just hear the previous one. Yeah, so there it has some real thick distortion on it, but here it's much more clean. I think probably there's two tracks going. Oh, okay, but now it's brought the back distortion back in. That was interesting for just a moment there. E flat and G, and then we're back to A. Also, the drum groove has changed here quite a lot. So we've no longer got the semiquavers, we've just got some claps on the offbeats. Nice. There was a sort of sucking through a straw sound there as well. Okay, now we've got through a big, what do you call it, vibrato kind of effect. Just like How Soon Is Now by the Smiths. Very simple though, just going through our chord sequences. Oh, it's not actually constant semiquavers in the drums. It's more like there's more than I think there is, but it's not as constant as this. Is very similar to the previous one, but the bass is again not quite as clear here. The vocals, though, they're through. The vocals are through a distortion effect there, aren't they? So that is very that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a really fun change. And it's really interesting how it sounds so peppy and fun, even though we've got this devilish chord sequence. There's an extra chord there which we don't get normally. Going between the C chord and the A chord, we have an extra G chord which I think has a B in the bass. So we transition out of that chord sequence, but then we go straight back into it, and it's really just an added movement chord just to make the change between that C and that A cleaner, I suppose, feel more comfortable. Ooh. There's that big riff, and we've also got some nice whirly organ here. It feels like it's passing from one ear to the other. Yeah, and some creepy guitar sounds. Okay, nice big drum groove here. Okay, so in this bit we're not going to the C chord, and we we've got something that sounds really like the melody that we've heard before. It's more like the guitar melody from the beginning, actually. That one is going, you know I'm never gonna, da, na, 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 na. So it's very like that. And we're just going between the A and the F sharp now. So we stay a bit longer on the F sharp that second time. And yeah, the drum groove is much more on the beat. Nice and big. Yeah, and with open hi-hats as well, and there's some crashes as well. Sorry, the melody's not quite what I said it was. It's doing that. So we've still got a bit of chromatic stuff like we did between the C and the C sharp, but now it's between E sharp and F sharp. You know I'm never gonna. Some really whirring big sounds in the background, crazy guitar sounds, squealing. And there's the riff come back again, that guitar riff. It really sounds like warped old country music, I think. Ba ba ba. It's quite nice, isn't it? Okay, semiquaver's riff now, back in semiquaver's drum pattern, but with a new melody. Everything just wears off and stops when it needs to. Cool. So a lot of stuff playing between C and C sharp in that one. Constant changing of the tonal center, but because it was so common, because it was almost always what happened, apart from one bit of E flat or D sharp, G, it really comes to be our comfortable area. And we just get really used to that na 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 kind of dissonance happening all the time. The false relations that, in fact, we don't ever really get them both at the same time, apart from with the bass riff holding while the melody, the guitar has the major third in it. Yeah, so it seems to be doing things with a pop sensibility, not trying to be overly uncomfortable most of the time. We have some creepy effects that are, I would say, non-musical, just for dramatic effect. They don't end up being, discordant or really unpleasant. We've got a very danceable groove through most of the thing as well. So it is very approachable in some ways, and in other ways just a little bit strange, a little bit side eye from a pink whale. Okay, bang bang. Okay. very similar start, but now I think we're doing the same thing with minor chords. So we've got B minor and G sharp minor. And we've got a big thick, big thick bass riff there. Same kind of distortion, same kind of atmospheric, big fat wide reverbs. Splashy kind of sound, and yeah, we're going between B minor and G sharp minor, so we're kind of doing the same but with minor chords now, and we don't have that other one that we would go to, so we've just got two chords here, and we're in swing time, but or triplets or compound time if you want, any of those. Okay, So there is actually, in a synthesizer in the background, it puts in the major third in that G sharp chord. So maybe we do have that, but the bass riff is playing a diminished arpeggio. So we've got things disagreeing with each other in a similar way to the previous track. Everything. Okay, so we've got the bass riff somewhat doubled. It wasn't quite doing the same thing. Was basically what the guitar was doing, down an octave. So yeah, the guitar came in with its own riff, but it was very, very similar. They were locked in on those last beats. 1, 2, 3, ba da da dum, 2, 3, ba da da dum, which is not the same emphasis as the other guitar part and the drums, which are very on the 2 and 4, 2 and 4. Whereas yeah, they are sort of locked just beyond that 4. Ba da 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 into the 1. So you've got these two main parts of the ensemble here, giving you slightly different rhythmic emphasis, which is nice. Okay. So the beginning of that melody sounded quite nice. That might actually be a major chord as well. That B major. Doing this kind of thing. But then we've got very much the diminished fifth interval here. Going up to the proper fifth. Just at the end there. But yeah, this one's much more out with its clashiness. That is a very uncomfortable, difficult melodic interval to sing, and they've got them as the main part of the melody in this second bit of the verse. Yeah, it is a major chord. Yeah. But those G sharp chords, they start as G sharp major, and then they do have diminished moments to them. So we get that chromatic movement. Fun. So that part doesn't have quite as crazy a melody. It was doing this kind of thing. And we also had some, it wasn't quite like that, but it was some harmonies anyway. Let's just have another listen to see if they're doing anything crazy. No, they're pretty much just so similar kind of chromatic play here. Okay. So we've sped up in the chorus here, we've sped up the harmonic rate. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's still the same chords. We're just going between them twice as fast. Nice. So melody here, and then the only other thing is the bass. Same note. Then it goes down one semitone, and we finish on a nice B major dyad, but there's probably some other things going on. Yeah, which is again a pretty nice sort of final ending, leaving us finished. We have finished the chorus here. And then, well, what does it leave us? Where are we? Where are we after we finish? Okay, we've still got pretty thick. Okay, so we had about 2 bars of not much going on, just the drums and a bit of synthesizer giving us the sped up chord sequence, giving us, I think, the 3rd there. Maybe it gave us the G sharp. Not very important, I think. But then we get back into our original groove. I do like that just before it starts again. A 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't do it that time. I guess I didn't do it that time because the singer came in early. And I don't mean wrong, but came in earlier than we were expecting with the next verse. So in order that it doesn't detract from what's going on there, there's no ba ba ba, which is good songwriting, really, making sure that the part that is meant to be heard, such as it is heard, making sure that these things don't get in the way of each other. I myself do prefer a more chaotic thing where there's more than one thing to be heard at any given time, and you can just be like, oh, they're over there, oh no, over there. But yeah, it's very clear, it's very direct. Same clashy melody as before. Yeah, so this second part of the verse, well, we could even maybe call it a pre-chorus, just doesn't have the same clashiness to it. Is it? Yeah, maybe it is. So it's yeah, so we've got, sorry, this kind of thing. So again, it's going from major to diminished, back to major. This is a really classic thing. You know, you would even get this in waltzes in classical times. I don't know. You would. Trust me. It's just a chromatic movement, just down to the previous note, and then back up. And so it doesn't sound too clashy. It sounds a bit playful, maybe. I mean, this whole thing is very playful. It reminds me of a band called T-Rextasy, who I came across a few years ago. Yeah. Anyway. Very nice bit there. Hot shot shit hot, was it that? Let's hear it again. Yeah, so everything just starts being on the beat here, just for one bar, which is really nice. Really gives punchy emphasis to each of those words. Hot shot shit hot. And also really nicely they've got the t happening in the space after hot shot shit hot, so that we get that t really, really clear, and it's not just hot shot shit hot, which might not quite have the punch to it. Straight into the chorus there. The melody does have a specific clash in it, as well as just nice chromatic movement. We have a chromatic descent here, which is really emphasized on the beat. For universe Yeah, so they are really free with their dissonance, while occupying a really, pop adjacent territory here. It's not uncatchy. It's just got really jagged edges. Same thing there, same thing as before, but they both move down rather than going yeah with the second one. Some lovely vocal fry, very, very close vocal fry. Okay, a guitar solo with a slide. Okay, and we do actually have a different chord sequence here. No, what is it? Ooh, let me have another listen. Yeah, okay. So we've still got basically the same two chords, but if you think of this on a 4-bar continuum, what we were having before was B major, B major, G sharp major, G sharp major, but now we're getting B major, B-major, that one, E7, because it's got a very clear 7th from the guitar solo, and then back to G sharp major. So it's like 1, 1, 4 to a major 6. Yeah, so we're still in the same kind of place, but because of that 4, that sort of sends us down a more comfortable route than we were expecting. And then from that 4 to the major 6, that's a big change. Whoa! And then we're there. We've got loads of chromatic changes, so that goes really nicely into that. Even so, both of those are shifting up like that. Whereas that one is sticking on the same note, and ba-da is going down there. So 3 of these notes are chromatically moving into the next chord, so it feels like a real pull. Whereas only one of them is in common between the 2 chords. Anyway, carrying on. And that's such a catchy melody from the guitar, isn't it? Yeah. So even though it's very offbeat, and I don't mean that literally, it is really having a lot of fun, but keeping it in a very approachable manner. Yeah. That's probably what I'm going to say most about this album. Ready to get a move on. Okay, a little bit of difference here. It's a very nice ending. It takes the guitar melody from the guitar solo, which, by the way, is not really like a proper guitar solo. I would say it's stating this melody rather than having a free improvised bit. If you want to consider it a solo, you can. I'm not going to stop you. But it takes that melody from that bit, and then it's doing that now with a guitar and with the vocals. It's making it a little more chromatic. We've got some more chromatic passing notes in there, and as well as that, the whole ensemble has changed sound. The production on it has really changed just for this last bit. Have a listen. Okay, let's get into it. So this is really big. Wow, we've got this big open space, and then everything's much more boxy sounding. The drums especially are really clearly boxy. The guitar chords sound so tinkly and tinny. So it just takes away loads of the reverb from what's going on and makes it much more small sounding, like a kind of old psychedelic record. Yeah, interesting sound. And yeah, going to the moon. It's a really nice ending there, and we end on the 6th chord rather than on the 1 chord, and that's fine. That sounds like we've gone to the moon, we've gone somewhere new. Let's move on. Business Class War Paint. Okay. It's a great riff. Same kind of entry as the previous songs, really. Similar riff. We don't really change chord here. We've got this probably B flat minor chord going throughout the whole thing, though the minor is only clear from the bass riff, really. You can't hear much other going on other than that B flat going like that. There's the 3rd, but then the next time we get that tritone. Lovely. Okay, verse. It's interesting, with one part speaking while the backing singers are actually singing something like that. So that's looking a bit, well, it would be an octatonic kind of feel. We've got the major 6 and the minor 7. We've also got sharp 4. Weird kind of place to be. Very classic drum groove going on here as well. Just very straightforward. Interesting melody. It's really just a minor arpeggio there, and both the backing vocals and the other vocals are doing the same thing. Sorry. And then this last bit, so another chromatic play around again. Okay, so now we are getting that chord sequence. So we're actually going to E, just for the last beat of that bar. Just for, yeah, I remember this next bit. Just for that last beat of the four bar sequence there, for the last beat of each bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to E major. What was that melody again? It was something. Yeah, interesting. So we get this after we've come down. We then go up an octave and down a semitone. So we get this ba 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 ba, but it's separated by an octave. Ba 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 da da. Fun stuff. Okay, so suddenly we're in the relative major, C sharp major, or let's call it D flat major. So that chord sequence: D flat major, G flat major, B flat minor, F major. Now that F major is the only one that doesn't really fit in a key center, but it's actually pretty common. It's a pretty common extra chord to get because it is the dominant of the minor here. So this feels like our absolutely most approachable bit that we've heard before. We've got 1 to 4, easy to 6. Now if we'd gone to 5 there, we would have had something it would have been totally, you know, like, wow, yeah, that's easy. I can understand what's going on here. I'm absolutely, definitely happy. Oh, okay, we get that, and it's like, well, I think I've heard that before. And then that change is like, oh, okay, maybe I'm a little uncomfortable. That change also, if we'd just gone from the B flat minor there, that would have been nice and comfortable actually. But that isn't what happens as we get into this section. We go from the B flat minor to the E, and then to the D flat or the C sharp. So that really feels like a crazy change. So we're full of these crazy changes. They're kind of like they're what's known as tertiary shifts. There are lots of different flavours of tertiary shift. That's one. Okay, then we could also have. There's basically 6 main tertiary shifts, and these have used them on every single song thus far. Yeah, they're very, very powerful, emotive feelings, because the point is that in each of these shifts the 2 chords can't exist in the same key together, so they feel like they are pulling against each other and pulling into different places. So they're really, really powerful chords to use. It's quite a nice melody actually as well. I don't want to dwell on too much in these songs just because these are new albums. I'm still developing my appreciation of them, but this melody so it has the same rhythm both times, and the melody is almost the same. Most important bit being that instead of going up to the B like the first time, the second time we go up a semitone to the A sharp. So we have that chromatic play again, but that is very approachable chromatic play, as I say. Having this dominant of the relative minor in there is a really common trick. Even pop songs now do that. Okay, so this is the same bit as the beginning, but it's just more. We've got guitars in. One's copying in fact 2 are copying the melody. Okay. This is different. We're missing out a beat there. Just in the second bar there. So 1, 2, 1. That's 4. And then 2, 3, and we don't get that 4th one. Yeah, fun. Slightly different section, but still very much similar. Playing with major and minor. Those are the 3rds there. And there's the 7th. Yeah. Really nice, cool texture with lots going on. And the drums are fun as well. Let's just have another listen for the drums. Yeah, yeah, great. Okay, it kind of ends on a minor chord there and then swirls in with a major chord. So. Okay, back to this arpeggiated melody. Same thing going on as before. And we've again got these big reverbs like we've had on all these tracks. Okay, this is our chorus. The melody's sung with a lot more force in this bit as well, isn't it? Much stronger delivery. Ba, ba. Yeah, that's a good rhythmic thing there, which I haven't picked up on before. Ba, ba, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, ba, ba. Does it change chord? Let me just check that. Yeah, it does. So we get that chromatic movement up to the chord there, E to F, just chromatic shift up. Na 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 na. We have that riff there as well. Okay, this doesn't quite feel as populated as before, but we've still got a bit more than we had before. Okay, and a key change, or maybe not. Okay, there were some fun chords there, but it goes up a bit, doesn't it? Something like that. But then we're back where we are. I can't be bothered to look at those chords right now. Fun section, but it just goes through the chords, and we come back where we were, and now we've got a silly bit with Rah Rah Rasputin. Okay, what happened there? Wow. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-dum. Again, we're missing 2 beats there now. Yeah, so that's fun. But then the second time, we've got these chords again: D flat minor, D flat major, and then then we got the 5. Woo! Which we haven't been getting before. That's the 5 in the major, but really we're back in the minor. D flat minor. That's A flat major, and then down to just for 2 beats down to G flat major. Oh. And that B flat isn't minor. We're just pretending it's minor by the chord movement, because these all fit quite nicely in the minor, but it's a major chord. So we're again playing around with tertiary shifts. Hooray! A really thick synth destroying everything. Interestingly, that I don't want to spend too much time on these, but I keep picking out little bits which are great. This is for 4 beats: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what happens there? That's not really how it feels, because the beat still stays the same. So the drums are doing pretty much the same thing, keeping 4 beats the same thing most of the time. But it doesn't do that, because we'd have to cut off that one too early. So instead we get 4 of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. No, yeah, hang on. How's that going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Is it that? That doesn't quite add up to me. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Ah, okay. No, actually, it's just there's only 2 on this one instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the melody's not doing too much here. It's just pentatonic, really. The backing vocals are doing different things. There's that change in. Yeah, it's fun, and it's now going on for like 7 or 8. It's really nice that there's two different versions of that. Yeah. Da da da. We've got that again. That was in the previous track. And everything just keeps... Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Great. Let me just hit, because I think I'm... Yeah, sorry, I did get that riff a bit wrong. Yeah. Which, yeah. Great. Well, that is a really fun song. Yeah, we end in kind of a different place to where we've been. I would say that is definitely the most catchy one so far. But they all have this fun, peppy energy to them. It's great. Let's keep going. Nice fade in of all the distortion. Lovely. Okay, well this seems pretty approachable. We've got a tambourine going on. We've just got a nice major chord. With, unfortunately, not just a nice major chord going on in the guitar part. I think that's what it is. So that's a half diminished arpeggio there on E. We're in E major, but that guitar part is doing something else. And then we had it in here as well. So we're looking at quick deviations away from the major again, like just to that, just for a shard of a moment. But now we are going somewhere else on the offbeat. So that was again a tertiary shift. E to G. Simplifying the riff a bit, but keeping the rhythm. And then going back to E. Okay, now we're really glorifying in that sharpened 4. Ba, 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 ba. Such a classic emphasis pattern on the snare. Da 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 da. Very monotone melody, just really going sometimes da and sometimes occasional other notes, but it's really keeping that one going, which is a well, I would say like a hypnotic thing, but also it's very aggressive. It's not softening it for us by putting in extra notes and melodic line, it's just keeping on going. The one I always think of as the best example of this kind of effect is in a song from the Holy Bible by Manic Street Preachers, and I can't remember which song it is, but it goes, I am an architect, and each note is so disjointed from the previous ones, and it's all the same. It's just really drilling into your ears, that particular note. Okay, here's our G chord again, and back to E. Oh! So then we had an unexpected C minor chord, very big tertiary shift between E and then that's very nice. Subdominant, 4-1. Are we there? It's hard to tell where the key center is, but those two chords go very nicely together. And also the melody on that C minor is as if we're just in G major. So it has this really sweet clash with the E flat there. Very, very beautiful. We've also got some arpeggiated synths going, which are really nice. They're just coming in and out. Okay, so that last time we didn't quite get the like we had before. We go back to the E. Doesn't quite feel like a E major at the moment actually either. It feels more open than that. Yeah, because we've really just got E going on. Okay, little school. Like it feels like yeah, school playground riff there. And it does. They can't avoid that that tritone interval. I mean, it's really nice. Again, we're sort of looking at demon country here. Really nice. So that riff is really emphasizing the 1, 3, 1, which is nice, and then the drums are on the snare is coming on the 2 and 4. Very standard, but there's extra hits of synthesizer that are going on those 2 and 4, which add a really subtle flavour. Just on the 2s sometimes actually, and now they're gone. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, that was a really nice bridge. Really nice. Okay. Just arpeggiated again. Keeping on that 1 note again. The bass is giving a little more colour than just the E here. Okay, and there's our G, and our E, and our C minor, yeah, and our G, just like before. Big offbeat energy here. 2, 4, 2, 4. Oh, and we go back to the G here. This time we didn't do that last time. And then we go to the E. That's an interesting change, but chop, 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 chop. That sounds much more present, less reverb on what's going on there. But then we, yeah, there's very psychedelic atmosphere being made. Like those. Ba-do-dum, ba-do-dum. Nice little bit of guitar riff. Everything's driving forwards. Ah. No. Yeah, really can't get away from that tritone. There are some other cool notes that come up. There's the G and the E. Oh, C major. And G. That's nice. Oh, this feels like cardiac. That's really nice. So they've changed the harmony of this. It's like the chorus, but instead of the C minor, we've got the C major. And we're also putting in a nice movement chord, a nice softener between those 2 quite disparate places. We're putting in, admittedly, a tertiary shift in order to move it over here, but this chord is actually really closely related there. It's the dominant of this E, so it doesn't feel too crazy to move it. And this, again, is a chord sequence that does happen fairly often. Normally we would probably go to E minor rather than E major, but it's not that. It's not the craziest change. After that dominant chord comes, E major or minor sort of feels comfortable. either of them. And there's our... Okay. Little textural difference there. Much... Yeah. Okay. This feels more like... No, well, this is still this outro section that's based on the chorus, but differs in specific ways. It's interesting. That's really nice for sunny disposition. Good word painting. And yeah, really interesting choice there for those da-da-da. Never mind. Just to emphasise those words again. Although I did miss them and there's no lyrics on the thing. There might be on Bandcamp and I should probably check. I'm going to start doing some of these from Bandcamp. But not today. And then we end. Carrying on. Nice. These are all... They're all doing basically the same things. Which is actually an underrated thing for bands. When you have a distinctive style, it makes a lot of sense to do that a lot. And while some people will get bored of that, it will be really defining, I think, for your band to have that particular thing going on. And all these songs are kind of doing the same things, but those things are really different from the grand majority of music. So it's cool. It's a really unusual mixture of real pop, brightness and chirpiness, and a dark underbelly of rock music. And there's other things going on, like there's a clear country influence as well. But all these things are making a very unusual bundle, which should be made more usual, I think. Although obviously the beauty of it is in its difference, as well as actually just how it sounds. The difference will erode if there is more of it, but realistically, I don't think that we're going to sway the tide by making more of it. So my suggestion to Chemtrails would just be to milk this wonderful formula. Just make better songs in the same vein. You don't need to branch out. If you want to, of course, go ahead, but I really don't think you need to. Okay, this one does sound a bit different though, doesn't it? So there's an interesting small reverb on the snare, which is making a real boxy kind of sound for the snare. The guitars are seemingly, well, they're lower. There's not many big chords at least going on. So the guitar is doing something down just on these kind of low fifths, and the bass is just doubling the thing there. And then it goes down to hear the guitar. So it's doing something around D minor. It doesn't feel like there's the same kind of bright poppiness to this one. Not yet, anyway. That feels very Blondie though, don't you think? Yeah, I mean there's definitely atomic something of the Blondie about that, and the not gated but the sort of delayed guitar ba 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 sort of thing feels new wave or like that late 70s kind of sound. Very low. Okay. Very low melody. The Fata Morgana down on that D, which in a female voice really sounds very low. And then it's up an octave and a fifth on the other voice. So they're miles away from each other doing the same thing. Da 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 da. Okay. Yeah, this one seems a little more downbeat. And we've not... Yeah, why have I not worked out what that chord sequence is yet? I don't know. I'll get it next time. But really, it's not sounding nearly as out there, and it's not trying to be as edgelordy as the previous tracks. The closest we've got is that "How Can I Come to This," which is really just, I mean, what, the flat 7 to 5. That happens all the time. Not all the time. It's still a tertiary shift. Yeah, the guitars are really swooping up there. Okay, so it's F to D minor, C, A. But the melody is so low, so low. Nice. Okay, so some thicker, more distorted guitars have come in there. And there's a weird harmony on that third chord there. It's doing something like that. No. Yeah, I think it's making that augmented chord there. Which, considering we've been resolutely around the D minor here, to hear one of the things putting in that F sharp and making a D major, well, D augmented, that's a strange change. It's almost like the inverse of what we've been doing in the other ones with the diminished going to major. This is the augmented going to minor. That's a really weird idea, but it makes sense. Yeah, very kind of psychedelic stuff going on here. With the wet reverbs, I mean, that's all psychedelia really, isn't it? But then this is just super close. Okay, F to D minor, F, C, A. Yeah, and we do get the chromatic play like we've got before, which is nice. And the repetition and the melody doing the same thing but with a different note on the final note. That's nice. Quite fun. Even in this slightly more downbeat one, there's still nice sort of cheeky fun things going on. And this guitar riff is new, isn't it? Very chromatic. Doubled in the synth, which is an interesting idea. Yeah, I think that's actually bass, isn't it? That's bass playing both those notes, which is nice. It's always nice to hear multiphonics on bass, although they're not multiphonics. That's totally the wrong word. Okay, join our death cult. E minor. Ambient noise from guitars. Driving drum and bass. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. Very much in keeping with our riff conventions here. Let's hear it again. Okay, I will actually have to go back to hear it again. Yeah, so we had a lovely G sharp, goes to G. Never mind. We thought we were in E minor, but we were actually in E major as soon as that riff started. And then down to the minor. So you can argue that this is a major blues scale if you want. We've got the 6 there. Whether or not that will be adhered to for the rest of the song is another matter. But yeah, it definitely has a bluesy feel to it there. In the larger collection of these songs, blues is not what I'm getting. That the chromatic relationships between those notes is something that goes beyond just blues. It happens in classical music, and it happens in loads of things. Anything that has sort of shifting tonal or shifting modal centers has a lot of chromatic stuff in. But yeah, it does feel like a major blues thing at the moment. Again, pretty low melody in this one. And then it jumps up the octave. And we've got another of these tertiary shifts. So we go to C sharp major, and then back to E major, 2 totally different places. And we're doing the same melody in both, kind of. So it's yeah. So we go from na, 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 so that joins them together, even though they're very, very different. Yeah, cool. Same thing here. What's that? Maybe it's just in the chord. Yeah, creepy, isn't it? It's just a little bit uncomfortable with these super peppy kind of sounds and rhythms, then being just yeah, perverted with other things going on. I mean, because that melody, that could be anywhere, that could be in anything. Really sweet, nice melody, but the no, that couldn't be everywhere. Yeah, that's in very specific, weird circumstances. That's coming up. Okay, new bit here. Let's see how we got into it again. Okay, so that little bit before, we suddenly went to C rather than C sharp. So it's a different tertiary shift. So this one feels really bright, I would say, and some people would say, whereas this one feels a little bit darker, moving somewhere more uncomfortable maybe. But what it does, this is a really common sequence in rock. It happens in like, well, I could go with the flow. Whether they're major or minor is another question, but that's what's going on there. Same kind of thing. We start with D, and then we go to the C, and to the A, but then we go to the B, and come for a nice perfect cadence onto the E. And then we're moving somewhere else. Let's see what's going on. We've got that Ba ba ba, back from the previous track. Ba ba ba. Sorry, that was in Sycophant's Paradise, wasn't it? Yeah, so there we've got another bit of nice, just major kind of sounding positive pop. Yeah, and then we just go back to the E. 2 to 1. Just really straightforward chord sequence there. They're so changeable, and yet it all seems to fit in the same place. Okay, this is one of our lugubrious extended chord sections. A little bit of a reinvention of that riff. Yeah, and some crazy synthesizer and guitar stuff. While the drums and bass, they just keep us going. Okay, so this is a verse section, but we've got that guitar bit echoed in the background. There's our chorus bit. There's our C again. A, B, E. F sharp minor. Back to E. So that's like our bridge, but it happens twice. Maybe a middle eight. I don't know. It happens again. Yeah, so when it happens again there, we get the E and we get the F sharp. We don't get the whole change. So there's a little bit of a bridge, actually functioning as a bridge between the chorus and this section that we get to with the. And it's funny because they don't really need a bridge. They're both based around E, so. We've just got some weird thing. Maybe it works with the lyrics, but I can't quite make them out there. But I think this is one of my faves of the album. Yeah, because it's got a good... wow, weird sound at the end there. They're not afraid of weird sounds, are they? Yeah, so this is based around C, but we've got definitely some chromatic stuff, like going down to B and then back up, but not everything is doing that. We've got some... First time there, F, E, back to C, and then we're going to A now. Okay. Yeah, it has a real old-fashioned feel to it. It's the pink whale. Lovely pink whale from our album cover. Really chromatic thing here. We've got these in loads of the songs on this album. Yeah, I don't even know what that sounds like, but it sounds so old. It sounds like something from my childhood. There's child energy coming through this album, definitely. Maybe tortured adult child who needs therapy, nonetheless is making songs to entertain similar adult children like me who need therapy. But I enjoy it. It makes me happy. Who needs therapy when you're happy? And okay, same chord sequence situation there. Yeah, sorry, I didn't explain last time, but the A minor then goes down to A flat before it goes back to C. So another tertiary shift. We had done without them pretty much, although there's one, I guess, from that E to back to the C in this song so far. But yeah, we're 7 for 7 on tertiary shifts. That's just fun. I really like the laid back. It's probably a tambourine on a hi-hat, I would imagine. This maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually a tambourine. But what you get with tambourines often is in fact, it must be a tambourine just by itself. But when you're shaking them, you get this. Sorry, that's such a terrible impression. You don't get. It's really hard to get very equal. And so it feels like this has a very naturalistic tambourine rhythm where the second is just a little bit behind where it should be. But maybe it's a little bit early actually. But it's not quite in time anyway. Okay, exactly same repetition we've had here that we had before. The texture feels a little more open. There's not so much distortion. There's no crazy synths. Okay. Okay. Really quite nice chord sequence. D7 to F7 and to C, C6, A minor. So it feels like this in a slightly different mood, and then it's just chilling at the pool, big whale. Yeah. And there's our A flat again. See ya. Never mind. Professionalism. The A flat that comes in there is really nice, and what's also really nice about what's going on here is that we've got these beautiful big chords of singers going on. So yeah. These really thick. They're not that big. It's maybe 3 voices, but they are really adding a thickness to the texture. Yeah, so I wouldn't say I like meme songs specifically. I like them if they sound good and they make me happy. But thanks for asking. Yeah, so this one's just, it's got about 2 different modes to it, and it keeps going through those. It's much less ambitious than a lot of the songs that have happened on this album so far, but it feels like a great hang in comparison. There's a little bit of discordant plinky plonky synth or keyboard there. Yeah, fun. Yeah, so that A minor chord has a lot of the augmented fourth in there. So it's more of a diminished chord there, but it really feels like we've got both. It feels like it's got that and that. So yeah, they can't help themselves. They've got 2 things that have happened basically in every track here, which is, one is having in this key, having the augmented fourth tritone, right? That has happened in every song. And then the other thing is a tertiary shift or 2 or 3. So they've really got a style in at least formalist musical analysis, and I would say they've clearly got a style beyond that as well. Yeah, it's so like sugary sweet, but then there's so much wrong with it. And there's a nice chromatic line between these. all the way up. Let's see if I can manage it today. That's not too high, is it? D sharp E, easy. And then we into that A flat chord, and then we end on the A flat chord, which is definitely not where we were expecting. Nice shimmery cymbal to get us out. Oh yeah, here we go. Immediately, bass riff. That's a very common thing to happen at the beginning of a track as well. We've got a synth coming through though here, which is less common. Normally we start with guitar. We've got a driving drum beat, great. Going octaves. And then to the augmented fourth. So yeah, really keeping up the side here. It actually has, I think it has an F there as well. B flat and F. So E. Nice kiss kind of sound coming from the guitar as well. Okay, another guitar. Almost doing the same riff with more slides in it than the bass, but almost doing the same riff as the bass. But then instead of going to the B flat and the F, we just go up to the F. Nothing crazy different. Tick 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 tick. Just ticking away with that hi-hat there. Oh, wow, crazy noise. Yeah. What is that? It sounds like a saxophone put through like a bit crusher. Just going. Yeah. Oh, but it's a guitar. It's a guitar. It's always a guitar. They've not had any instruments other than keyboards, guitars and drums and vocals in this so far. So I was surprised to hear something like that. And it wasn't, it was just a guitar. But it's a guitar with a strange sound to it, like very, very fuzzy, tweedy maybe? I'm not so good with specifics of guitar noise, but yeah, tweedy, that's what it suggests to me. Very boxed in, not very full. The other ones feel much more, this is... It's nice though, because while the other guitars go to that, this one takes a little bit longer to do that. So we spend a bit more time clashing. And it's also, it's got a microtonal bend. Well, maybe it's not even a bend. Interesting. Okay. And that gives us our major. Yeah, another chromatic up to, down to kind of thing. We've had those two. Big intro though, right? We've had no vocals here, and we're in, nearly 2 minutes worth of intro there. And then the guitars just back off massively. Yeah, the guitars are gone. We've just got the bass, the drums, and a bit. I love this one. Great. So or and then it does it in thirds. that. I think it's what that high one does. Let's just hear that again.
We're a fiction, a superhuman superhighway.
Okay, yeah. So we've just got those. Really, they're the only moving thing in the texture, other than the drums. The drums are always moving. Yeah, and we just repeat Superhuman Superhighway 4 times with some other silly lyrics in between. Very fun, very fun. And I really like the slide human, which sounds almost nothing like that, but that on human with the really nasal tone. I really like that. Very characteristic of something. Wow, really going up into the stratosphere with some belty singing there. Let's just hear it again. All the way up to the F there. Yeah, so we're on like, yeah, we're in nice notes with the chords here. So yeah, it really goes all the way up in a diminished thing, minor third, and then we come back down to the E for the next thing. It's also, there's harmony there as well, but I won't go over that. Okay, and we're back to our riff from the beginning, when the main guitar comes in. The drums are really much fuller though. I guess it's open hi-hat, but there's also something else going on there as well. Something in the right ear that's not just the open hi-hat. Okay, now it's closed, and everything has calmed down quite a lot, but we still got some, some cymbals. And there's our second riff as well. And then they just disappear again. That's happening in the synthesizer as well. Nice lovely major chord. That's really good. So the chords are moving at super speed there. Yeah, so what do we get? E, G, D sharp, and those are all major chords, and they're just moving super fast. And then D, D sharp, A sharp, or B flat, and then we're back down there. So yeah, a real pull with those, but because they're so fast, we don't feel like they are establishing any kind of new tonality at all. They're just going really fast somewhere else. Well, apart from when we get to the B flat, but we've heard that so much in this song that we don't feel like that is out of the ordinary. It feels like where we always go. It's like Nana's cottage in the Maldives. That's where we go. That's where that is. Whereas this is nice and comfortable Detroit. Okay, same kind of thing. Actually, that B flat's not as long as I thought it is. It's 3 times, and then we go back to E, and just for the last beat, 1, 2, 3, we get that B flat. So it's even less like Somewhere New, really. Just very fast, sudden change. And we've got snare on each beat, so it's really pushing us forwards. Okay, back to a similar thing to the beginning. We've got those squawks again. That's so fun. Yeah. There's definitely something about that sound that is pushing it microtonally sharp, I think, and then bringing it back. I don't know if it's deliberate manipulation on the guitar or if it's part of the effect. I don't know. Yeah, fun stuff. Okay. Crazy wailing, and we're just pushing forwards. This feels like a real guitar solo now. Feels like he's untethered, or she is completely untethered by what's going on here. Or they. Whichever. Okay, we've settled into something now. We've settled into something. Well, yeah, which again is between this F and this E. It's probably closer to the E, otherwise I think I'd have more problem with it. Just another chromatic up, down, 2. Yeah, wow! Fun! Such an extended section as well. Whoa! Okay, this is definitely some synthesizer, isn't it? If it's guitar, that's crazy. But that was a really cool sound. If it was guitar, it kind of sounded auto-tuned. I mean, I guess you could achieve that kind of effect going up and down on a guitar's fretboard. But yeah, it really feels like a kind of strange portamento effect on a keyboard, going bar bar, you know, going up ba, all those different semitones in a sudden space. That's a fun little bit of riff there. It's like we've got that chromatic riff that we had, and we're putting in between, we're putting the top note again. Simple stuff, but really nice. And this is the same as our bit that led into our big long section here, but it's thicker. We've got more crazy guitar squealing going on there. Was there something else? Feels like there's like a vuvuzela or something going whoop, 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 just right at the top of the texture. Sorry. Those real, really wet delays are a very common thing in psychedelic and kind of acid music. So I think it's interesting that they are so common on this album, which you could probably clean up. And if you made, not that I'm saying you should, but if you made this with much less reverb and those delays gone, so everything was just tighter, it wouldn't feel nearly as crazy. But that said, why would you do that when these long extended sections of improvisation like we've just heard, or the synthesizers which go crazy on some of these songs are really adding to that craziness? Clearly this asks for a bit of a psychedelic treatment to it, I would say. Anyway, even if you disagree with that, what we've got is what it is, and I think it works really, really well. That was a really cool song, much more bare bones than quite a lot of these songs. It doesn't feel as through composed. We've got a big long improvised section, and other than that, we've got almost just two chord sequences. You could argue that is another one, but yeah, very, very similar all the way through. To be fair, not all these songs have a lot of different chord sequences, and Detritus Andronicus was basically based around the same 3 chords the whole time, although we did have a tiny bit more than that. But you may be wondering, did we get away? I didn't mention any tertiary shifts here. Sadly there is one. When we go into that, what should we call it? It's not really a chorus. bit. We've got two tertiary shifts stacked on top of each other, the same one in fact. Upper minor third major and upper minor third major. There we go. E to B flat and then back to E. And in fact, that B flat to E that we have there, you can see it as going up 3 tones, but you can also see it as going up 2 minor thirds. So you could argue it's the tertiary shift of all time. The greatest. 2 stacked on top of each other. But you can also argue that about getting to the dominant chord as well. So let's not go crazy. Apocalypstick. Very funny. Ha ha ha. It's a title. Another fade in. But then we were greeted by a very different texture after that. The bass here, we've got 2 kind of things operating in the bass register. One is just a muted bass kind of sound, boom, 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 boom. And then we've also got this really sound from, I would say, probably a synth. And again, we're doing the tritone interval. Oh, that's a better. Yeah. So that's D to A flat there. Then yeah. So we then end up getting a by proxy A flat minor chord there, which we had no idea existed before that moment. Sorry, it isn't. It isn't. I'm overreaching. It's actually this chord, which is not there, which would give us that, but instead gives us a dyad of A flat and B flat. Oh, which is just, well, it's a strange thing to hear by itself, not too offensive, but interestingly, if we get the D from before and the A, then we're getting both notes on other sides of that A, and so it feels a long, long way away from our first chord. It feels like it's pulling away from that in every direction it can. We're in swing time here, which is fun. What else have we got going on? Feels very 2 4 2 4. Getting a low melody. Okay. Interesting. So we keep the sequence we had before, going D to A flat. I think the harmonic rate has changed though. I think we're a bit slower. And then we go to G. I think we're twice as slow. And then we go back to A flat and then to A, which leads us to what looks like a perfect cadence back up to D. But we had to spoil it with the C sharp. No, we didn't really spoil it, to be honest. Yeah. That's just another note in the same chord, so it works just fine. And we're really looking at more of a D minor tonality now. That wasn't clear before, but that's what we're looking at. Again, we've got this na 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 in the melody, going from the 5th to the sharp 4 back to the 5th. Now it's in octaves with the harmony. The harmony singers are singing in octaves. I really like that as a little na 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 ha. Oh, dark and then bright. Nice. Ah, it's good. pinprick, apocalyptic. I guess it makes a good rhyme. More straightforward sequence of chords though here. D minor to C. We've got a nice counter melody as well going. And then to B flat. And then back to D. We do still get apocalyptic. We still can't get away from that tritone stuff.
Apocalypstick.
Nice. We've got a B flat 7 chord as well, which just has that augmented form. Oh, you could argue it's a German 6th actually if you want, but let's not get into it. German 6th or flat 6 7 chord. That's some numbers. Yeah. So it doesn't feel quite as crazy as the other songs. This one, harmonic wise, so far, because we've taken so long over these chord changes. Now this one we heard in the previous track. We've heard it quite a lot in different situations here. So it's not sounding so crazy here. It is overall probably the most apocalyptic interval, but that's not saying much. Yeah. Do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. I think I did, and it's gone, so I'm going to carry on. I like those. We haven't had many of those unison bends. They don't really happen very often now in music, but it's where you bend one note up to the other, and so you get this kind of phasing effect as they come into tune with each other. It's nice. To be honest, that might not be actually what's going on there. It maybe feels like one guitar is doing a bend while another one isn't, but it has a similar effect. Nice bit of wobbly synthesizer there. That's a G major chord. That's fun. That's not anything. No more singing. This is very spoken, and it's not therefore echoed up the octave. But now it is, because we're back to singing. Back into our chorus.
Apocalypstick.
Fun ending, and the cymbal just lingers a bit longer. But we do have Post-Apocalypstick. But just before we do, I'll say it's interesting how that chorus has its own movement to begin with, and also this is a C chord, but it does have a 6 in it. So you can make an argument that it's an A chord if you wanted. And then we do have that B flat, and instead of just repeating that 4 chord sequence, really we just repeat several times the B flat 7 to the D minor. So that just repeats over and over again. So it's like you take the end of the chorus and make that a post-chorus section by repeating it after the chorus. It's a fun idea. It's very structurally sound, and quite a lot of the decisions they made on this album have been in a similar vein. Okay. Just straight out of the gate with that tritone interval. Going a bit faster, I think. And now we're in straight time. That's the main thing. Well, the bass is just locking us to the D. Yeah, so we're going from a tritone dyad, basically, with the D and the A flat, or the D and the G sharp, and then we're going up just hear that again. Yeah, it's like... Yeah, so it goes from that. So like spelling out the minor 7. And the guitar melody is doing a similar kind of thing, but just right at the end of the 4th bar each time. Come on. Nice, really slow bend up, which is very fun. Okay, another synthesizer has come in on that sharp 4. Ooh, wobbling around. Nice slide down there. Na, 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 na. We've also had that a billion times on this album. Na, 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 na. Yeah, good. We're just going through a selection of riffs here, while everything else just keeps chugging. And yeah, just going from A to B. A is our uncomfortable dyad, and B is our minor chord, which doesn't always have the minor 3rd in it. Okay, so that was an interesting moment there, signalling a change. The bass, I think, jumps up an octave, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're into the next bit, and it looks like there's some vocals coming in. Okay, so this is like our chorus from Apocalypstick. We've still got that chromatic melody fragment there. Before that comes in, our rhythm has changed though, which is quite a powerful rhythm. We don't normally get 2 semiquavers straight out of the gate there, or you know, we don't get the immediate offbeat after the first beat of the bar very often. So it's interesting to get that here. It makes it very clear that we've stopped on the second second beat. I get off. So we get a really clear distinction between on and off, which with the reverbs is quite an accomplishment here. Very much more sort of present rhythm than a lot of what we've had previously. And it's interesting that the drums are not doing much with that rhythm. They're not emphasizing it too much. The beat goes on, but the bass drum is giving us most of those, which is interesting. Interesting approach to it. And the bass drum, obviously, when it hits, is not going to take up much of the frequency range of the other instruments. So you can be sure that if you play the bass drum in time with the other instruments, that both are going to be heard in their own ranges. All these different melodic bits just weaving in and out. Sudden change of texture here with the fade in of this much more jangly sounding guitar. Just doing our chord sequence that we were familiar with, just on its own. Why not? Kind of nice ending. Okay. Wow. This immediately has quite a strange feel compared to the rest of the thing. Okay. So what's interesting here is we are actually in a very slow 3-beat sequence. Now you could argue it was 6/8, you could argue it was 12/8, you could argue it was 3/4. All I'm trying to argue is that we're going 1, 2, 3, something 2, 3. So we've got 3 as our main beat division. That gives it a very different feeling to the rest. Sometimes we've had things in a fast 3, which feels very, very different to a slow 3. This one has its own rhythm. Very, very interesting. The drums are also doing some cool stuff. Let's go over it again. So yeah, a drum roll for that first beat of the bar, or first 3 beats if you like. And then wait. Bah. Same thing again. Yeah, great fun. And we've got some ghost notes as well after that, keeping us in time, which is really fun. This feels like a very old-fashioned Western kind of. Let's hear it again. Let's hear that riff again. I can't keep away from it. Very funny. I thought this one was really different to the others, but we've still got that da 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 da. No, I didn't work out the chord sequence there, but the riff is very cool. This kind of thing. It's long. Is it 6 bars long? 6 or 8 bars long. And each bar has something slightly different going on with it. But it feels really Western. The harmony's not doing anything super crazy, and we're definitely in C minor here. I think we did have the dominant chord at the end there, major dominant chord. So we do have one chromatic note, but it's the most common chromatic note, so let's not worry about it. Although, actually, we did have the da-da-da-da, so we do have 2 chromatic notes. Wow, this is, again, a very different feel. Okay. A line of cliches where we're going... which is itself a very classic cliche bass line. This is so different to the rest of this album. Very low melody, but because the texture's so open, we've not even really got the drum fun thing going on here. We've just got occasional hi-hats. These 2 moving lines do just keep out of the way of each other. It's nice. I would say this is a classic chord sequence altogether. Yeah, wow. Well, this feels very old-fashioned classic songwriting. Very interesting side stick stuff going on now with the drums, and they've got a very quick echo as well, so again, very psychedelic feel. We've got it every single bar now. Okay. There's our cool drum figure from the beginning. Building, building, building! Did we have one extra beat there? Surely not. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. No, okay, this is a 3 inside 3 situation here. We're in swing time all of a sudden. Okay, so the rhythm has very much changed. Before we were focused on these 3 divisions, and now we've still got those, but like in that Fiona Apple song, Fast As You Can, the subdivisions have changed. So instead of we're looking at so yeah, a different feel overall, and much more emphasised on those subdivisions as well. It's not just the drums doing them now. Bap, bap. I really like an extended chord sequence as well. This feels great. C minor to G on B, to E flat on B flat, to F on A flat, to E flat, to F minor, and then to G major. Yeah, great. Oh, it's our favourite thing. Woo. Most of the instruments didn't end there. The only thing that gave us an ending was the drums, and then everything else just stops while fades in this honky-tonky piano. Oh, creepy! It's like an old fairground. Yeah, some... Oh, I don't know what that is. Yeah, square wave. No, it's like a saw wave, isn't it? Maybe a square wave. Yeah, a square wave kind of sound. And then again, we don't end. We finish with our G major chord. No final perfect cadence into that C. So that one doesn't follow the conventions of the other tracks very much at all, which makes it sound all the more bizarre. It's not got a driving rhythm. It doesn't have any play around with the tritone. We do still get that da-da-da-da, which has happened in several other tracks. So that is the one thing linking us there, as well as the ensemble being very similar. But overall, there is a whole lot of difference in that track compared to the rest of the album. The rest of the album has its very specific quirks which go through each song. Nonetheless, I don't think there are any that really feel like they're in the shadow of another song on there. They feel more or less equal. Well, I would say Join Our Death Cult and Business Class Warpaint, and for me Superhuman Superhighway also. Those 3 songs really stick out to me as the standout ones. Pink Whale also has its great hang feel, just really chill vibes coming off that one. Those songs do elevate themselves above the others, I think, but nonetheless all the others have their interesting quirks, and I could imagine people being very into any of those songs, really. I would say I would be more surprised if they were into Post-Apocalypstick specifically, or Mushroom Cloud 9 maybe feels like the weakest track otherwise. But yeah, they all have some really cool things going on. Some of the same things in each track, and then differences as well. Differences that are still different to normal songs. and therefore interesting, therefore fun. And even when they are as fun as that, they don't stop being actually enjoyable, I think. That's my opinion. The rest is not. Everything else I said, absolutely fact. See you tomorrow for a more classic one. Bye bye.